Hey everybody, welcome back to Brainiac Baseball's 1982 Detroit Tigers season replay. Today is opening day. We have the Yankees versus the Tigers. It's Stefan Weaver and Jack Morris making their first starts of the season. And before we get started today, I just want to take a few minutes and talk about what we have to look forward to this season. If you're just here for the gameplay, please feel free to just advance about 5 minutes here. I just want to start off by saying a couple of things. First of all, thank you to Clay Dreslow, the CEO of Sports Mogul and the maker of Baseball Mogul. I am in no way being paid to do this. I am not endorsing this game. I've played this game for almost 20 years. My first year of playing Baseball Mogul was 2002. I don't expect anything in return for doing this. This is my third season, my third season replay for the Tigers. You can go to the Brainiac Baseball Card Breaks YouTube main page, and you can at any point watch any of the 1980 or 81 season if you want to see more about what I do here. The 1980 season, I would recommend perhaps starting at like game 64, because for the first 64 games of the 1980 season, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just kind of doing it for fun. For my friends, I never thought I'd have this many people check in and watch these games. So I appreciate everyone who shows up for that and everyone who's been here since the beginning. So, 81 was the second season. We just finished that. Of course, that was the strike-shortened season. So there was only 110 games in that season. And when you see the statistics for the ball players throughout this year, keep in mind that 1981 was only 110 games played. Okay, so again, if you want to advance to the gameplay, please do that. Jump ahead maybe about 4 or 5 minutes. I want to talk a little bit about what happened in spring training. It's a little bit of a bummer. We lost Dan Petrie, who was going to be our number 5 starter. That's where I had him projected. Let's pull him up real quick. He broke his leg in spring training. Look how great he was doing. 6-1 with that 1.79 ERA. And that's going to hurt because in real life, in 1982, Dan Petrie went 13-5. He actually got Cy Young Award votes that year. So we're not going to see him for almost 4 months, which is a real bummer. And we'll show you here shortly how we've made up for that. So we did lose Dan Petrie. Let me show you, there were several trades that were made during spring training. You can go back and take a look at any of my divisional previews. I did one for the American League East and West and one for the National League East and West, separate videos. You can take a look at those on the Brainiac Baseball Card Breaks playlist page if you want to see what each team lineup and starting rotation looks like. So Darryl Porter was traded to the Cubs by the Rangers, which will leave them with like a total scrub as their catcher. This makes no sense to me because they also got rid of Jim Sundberg, who's on the White Sox. They got a couple minor leaguers in return, including Mel Hall. So playing for the future. Then the Reds traded Roy Smalley to the Red Sox. Smalley will be playing a shortstop for them. Had a pretty decent season for the Reds last year. In return, they got a couple minor leaguers. And then the Mets had their only good hitter, Lee Mazzilli. They traded him to the Yankees for a couple minor leaguers. But that does give Mookie Wilson a chance to play every day in center field for the Mets. So that might be a good decision. And then the Twins, who are always trading, they traded themselves right into the playoffs last year, despite getting beat out by the Red Sox. They traded John Castino, their third baseman, to the Orioles, and in return got a center fielder who is in a single-A ball. So there's the trades from spring training. Here is everything that happened down the break during the off-season and spring training. You can see here Dan Petrie was the last transaction that occurred, and a total bummer. Let's take a minute and look at the Tigers lineup. I think if you've been following us, you're going to be really surprised to see our lineup. I've made some decisions based on performances in spring training. Mickey Hatcher, who I despise and was terrible for us after his trade last year, absolutely crushed it in spring training. 9 doubles, 5 home runs, batted .375, and easily won the third base position. He's okay defensively, not a lot of range. Do I think he's going to make the entire season? I do not. And I'm definitely considering third basemen that are like backups that I could possibly make a trade for. But Hatcher deserves an opportunity to third base out of spring training. Greg Brock will be our first baseman. Got about 100 plate appearances last year and batted .260. He had a home run in his very first at bat in the majors, and then he didn't do anything after that. But he had a solid spring training, batting .278. He hit 4 bombs, so he will be our first baseman. Right field, neither right fielder made any impact at all. Glenn Wilson and Jeffrey Leonard both sucked in spring training. So what I decided to do was shift my outfield. Kirk Gibson was going to be my DH, but I went ahead and moved him back to left field. I moved Rickey back to center, and I moved Andre Dawson, our big free agent signing, to right field. All are competent. Rickey Henderson got a gold glove in center field for us that last year. So that frees up the DH spot for Reggie Jackson. Oh my gosh. Look at what he did in spring training, though. I got to scroll down here a tad. Spring training, he had a couple. He batted .317 in 41 plate appearances. In real life, in 1982, Reggie Jackson led the American League in home runs with 39. He was tied with Gorman Thomas. Of course, Reggie was on the Angels in 1982. And so, we're going to give Reggie the DH spot out of spring training and see if he can't duplicate what he did in 1982. Now, Gibby in 1982 got injured. He only played 69 games, so his numbers weren't great. He did bat .278. I don't know what to expect from him in this simulation, but we're going to bat him lead off. In 1982, Rickey Henderson stole 130 bases. But as you know, if you followed last season, he was caught stealing almost 50% of the time. So pretty miserable for him as far as stolen bases go. I am playing the 2001 edition. Last year I was playing the 2020 edition. And so in the 2021 edition, it does give you their stolen base percentage for each opportunity that they get on base. So maybe we could be more accurate this year with Rickey Henderson. That's a great improvement by Clay. I love it. I played a few practice games, so I'm not jumping in totally blind with it. Trammell did not have a great year in 1982. He batted .258 and was really not a factor offensively. Lance Parrish was the player of the year for the Tigers in 1982. He had 32 home runs, batted .284. He won a Silver Slugger and was an All-Star. So if we can get anywhere near that type of play from Parrish, I will be more than satisfied. Whitaker crushed it. He batted .286. He had double digits in home runs. He was very solid defensively. He was our other Gold Glove winner in 1981 in our simulation. And Glenn Wilson was a rookie. That's why I kept him. He sucked in spring training, but he can play all 3 outfield positions and will be a good defensive replacement. He batted .292 in real life in 1982. Also, Howard Johnson, who's down here in Double-A, did play for the Tigers as a third baseman. So we do have a third baseman for the future in Detroit. But Hojo batted .316 in real life. getting a late season call up. So he got about 120 plate appearances and batted .316. So I have high hopes for him in the future, but here's our bench. We're going to have Bobby Ramos, our great pickup last year, as our backup catcher. He crushed it and came through in late innings opportunities. He was really big for us. Mark Wagner will be our infield replacement. He can basically play anywhere in the infield. Not a great hitter, but solid defensively. John Mayberry, who I signed to a minor league contract, we're going to let him make the team so I can keep him on the team, and he could very well fill in for Greg Brock. In 1982, John Mayberry was the Yankees' first baseman. This was the lean years for the Yankees after they won the World Series. So, and Marty Castillo will get the final bench spot. Did not perform particularly well in spring training. He's a third catcher for us. He does catch. That was his primary position, although this game does have him listed as a third baseman. You can take a look here at who we have in AAA. And there's our AA players, and finally, single A. I did many things to improve the season for the viewers. One thing is I did go through and I went and changed all of the minor league affiliates to their actual 1982 names. So in AAA, the Tigers were the Evansville Triplets, not the Toledo Mudhens, who they are today. In AA, we are the Birmingham Barons. And in single A, we are the Lakeland Tigers, which they still are, actually, after all these years. Okay, so that's one thing I've done. Number two, I've gone through and I've made sure that each player has the proper skin tone. The default tone is just white in this game. And you can go through in the edit player and you can add a skin tone so that they are properly represented. And that's the right thing to do. I went ahead and just did it. For every player on every team, even in the National League, just in case they get traded to the American League and we see them, it's going to be accurate. And I think that just adds another level to this game. Okay, the other thing that I did, and because I am a baseball card channel, this is Brainiac Baseball Card Break, so I do open sports cards on this channel. I went through and made sure that every player represented has a 1982 baseball card for their photograph. So whether it's this Topps card or the French version, which is O-Pee-Chee, or the Flair or Donruss versions, whichever card I think looked the best, will represent that player. If they are someone who did not have a card made in 1982, like let's say Scotty Earl, I took their first card made available. And so for Scotty Earl, it was a 1985 Donruss. So that card will represent him in case we do see him this year. Again, I went through and did this for every single player on every single team. It took me 2 weeks to do all of this. And so that is the way that you'll be able to identify the players, is by their baseball card. Let's take a look at the pitchers real quick. I'm sorry if this is taking longer than it should have, but I wanted to be thorough on opening day, and then we'll get, every game after this will just be the gameplay. Okay, so here's the rotation for the Tigers. We got Jack Morris in the number 1 slot. We got Dave Roseman, Bruce Robbins, and Jerry Euger. They were all starting pitchers for us last season, whereas Robbins and Euger filled in toward the middle of the season. And then Bryn Smith will be filling in for Dan Petrie. Smith was terrible, but he had a dynamite spring training, making 5 starts, going 2-1 with a 2.90 ERA. 4 walks, 17 strikeouts. Compared to what he did last year, that might be just what we need to replace Dan Petrie. Of course, in real life, Jack Morris has had some troubles of late, but he is, for all intents and purposes, our ace for our staff. He went 10-11. Oh, I'm sorry. He went 17-16 in 1982 with a 4.06 ERA in real life. So not a great season for Morris. So we'll see what he gives us in the simulation. Dave Roseman, this is the heartbreaker. In real life, in 1982, Dave Roseman was 3-0 with a 1.63 ERA, and he was on the bench when the Tigers were playing the Minnesota Twins, and there was a brawl. And Dave Roseman, being the nut job that he was, maybe still is, came off the bench, ran onto the field, and tried to karate kick a player, tore his knee up, and his season was over. So I don't know what we're going to get from Dave Roseman. 11-4 last year. He was really our ace and helped keep us in the pennant race all the way to the end. So we'll see what we get here from Dave Roseman. Bruce Robbins in real life was not a factor in 1982, so I don't know. He pitched really well for us. I'm always dubious of left-handers. He was 5-6 in 97 innings pitched, and pitched really pretty good. So we depend on him. And then Jerry Euger, in real life in 1981, had his best year. In 1982, he went 10-10 with a 3.69 ERA. So, for a number 4 starter, that's about what you would expect. Our bullpen, and I think I mentioned this toward the end of the season, the only player under contract, a major league contract, was Tom Hume, who pitched horrible in spring training. But we had to put him on the main roster, otherwise I had to let him go. So he's going to make the team. We're going to put him in long relief. And then essentially every other bullpen position was up for grabs. So these are the players that made it. Roger Wever did not pitch well in spring training, but he is our closer, whether we like it or not. Dave Rucker was awesome in spring training. Joe Kerrigan was a player assigned to a minor league deal. Did not expect him to make the team, but he was the second best pitcher in spring training. And so we're going to put him in short relief. If we don't like him, we can just cut him. It won't cost me anything. But we're going to give him the job. Keith Comstock will be our second lefty. Dave Patterson, again, we picked him up last year from the Dodgers in the trade that sent Steve Kemp to L.A., and then you may be surprised to see Tom Filer and George Capizzello did not make the opening day bullpen. So we do have some depth. Any of these guys could be good. Any of these guys could be terrible. So it's going to be trial and error. We'll see how that plays out. Taking a look at our Double-A. We do have some players that should be coming around soon. We got Danny Jackson, a good lefty starter. We got Brian Kelly, who barely had a cup of coffee in real life, but has great ratings. Jeff Robinson, all solid starters. And then in single-A ball, we got David Cohn, we got David Wells, we got Chuck Finley, we got Brian Harvey, and Mark Leiter. We have some really good players we drafted in the last 2 seasons who will eventually make our simulation maybe in the next year or 2. Okay, so that's it. Last thing I want to show you, because this is important, and if you play Baseball Mogul, you're going to want to, this may interest you, I don't know. I just want to show you real quick, we're going to take a look at the Stadium Editor function. Stadium Editor, I went through and used my own mathematical equations, which I'm not going to bore you with, to create the park factor and the stadium effects. So a 100 park factor is average for any stadium, okay? And actually in real life, the Tiger Stadium park factor was 100 in 1982. So that did not change with my mathematical equation that I put together. Lefties and righties both hit home runs in Tiger Stadium. Not just Tigers players, but this is all players in 1982. This is based on the actual statistics that Tiger Stadium did was accumulated at Tiger Stadium in 1982. So that means it's 2% above average for left-handers and right-handers to hit home runs. Batters batted 2% and 4%, lefty and righty below average. Doubles were 16% below average. Triples were 22% below average. Strikeouts were about even. Double plays occurred a little bit more often, and errors were less likely by 7%. That's basically what that means. I went through and I did this for every stadium, American League and National League. I have done this in the past in simulations, but I have not done it in my 1980 or 81 season. So I have no idea. Look at the triples in the very first year of the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome in Minnesota. Triples were 46% above normal. Home runs by left-handers, right-handers. They had short porch back then in the Metrodome. So I went ahead and did that. I used my own mathematical equation. I have nothing against what Clay has done with the park effects, but I wanted to. I came up with this idea. I thought I would just do it, see how it played. So we'll see if that has any effect on what we do this season, positively or negatively. Maybe it'll be more fun. Maybe it'll be boring as hell. I don't know. But let's get started. I'm ready to go. It's opening day. I've talked enough. Thank you guys for your attention. If I have never introduced myself, my name is Charlie. I live in Tucson, Arizona. I'm from Detroit originally. One-time season ticket holder for the Detroit Tigers back in the day. And I've lived all over. Tigers are my favorite team, but I follow all baseball all the time. And with Baseball Mogul, it allows me to combine my two passions, baseball and sports card collecting. And anyway, I hope you enjoy the presentation. Let's go ahead and get started. It's opening day. It's the New York Yankees at the Detroit Tigers. Okay, here we go. Loading up, taking its sweet ass time. We got Jack Morris on the mound. You see his numbers there from last season. We're going to look more in depth at him momentarily. The lineup for today against right-hander Stefan Weaver. There's the statistics from last year. This is how they did versus righties. Maybe it's more pertinent. You can take a look there and see how they performed versus right-handed pitching. Okay. I guess we may as well keep it in-game stats. There's no point in doing season stats because there are no season stats. So for maybe the first week or so, we'll have it at game stats over here. Let's go ahead and do the lineup rundown for the New York Yankees. We're going to show you the players' cards with Willie Randolph leading off, playing second base. You'll see his 1982 New York Yankees baseball card up here. And you'll see his statistics. You can feel free to pause it if you want to take a longer look at their statistics. So batting leadoff, playing second base is Willie Randolph. Batting second in left field is Don Reynolds. Batting third at first base is Don Mattingly. Batting cleanup and DHing is Dennis Werth. Batting fifth and catching is last year's MVP, Ron Hassey. Batting sixth and in right field is Claudell Washington. Batting seventh and at third base is Gold Glover, Joe Lefebvre. Batting eighth and in center field is newly acquired Lee Mazzilli. And batting ninth at shortstop is Brian Doyle. On the mound for Detroit is Jack Morris, of course, making his season debut. Last year, he made 24 starts in that strike-shortened season, 10-5, 3.97 ERA. He had 95 Ks in 156 innings pitched. Opponents batted only .250 against him, a big improvement over the previous season. He had 4 complete games and 2 shutouts. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and flip that back over to both. Down here, if you're not familiar, you'll see the career totals versus the pitcher. Willie Randolph, 2 for 13 with 2 walks and 3 strikeouts in his career against Jack Morris. And obviously that is only in the 2 seasons that we've simulated, plus whatever happens this year. Okay, leading off, here's Willie Randolph. Full count and a ground ball to short. Trammell tosses him out. So 1 down. Good start to the season for Morris. Crowd is into it. Hopefully everybody watching is settled into their seats. Don Reynolds up next. Ground ball to third, and Mickey Hatcher makes the play. Is Hatcher an upgrade to Tom Brookins? I don't know. Brookins struggled at third base, and he is now on the Cleveland Indians, so we'll see him before the end of the month. Here's Donnie Baseball with 2 outs, and Morris strikes him out. So a very good start to the 1982 season for Mr. Morris, and we go to the bottom half of the first. Here is the Tigers' official lineup rundown. Batting leadoff, and in left field is Kirk Gibson. Batting second in center field is Rickey Henderson. Batting third at shortstop is Alan Trammell. Batting cleanup and in right field is Andre Dawson. Batting fifth and DHing is Mr. October, Reggie Jackson. Batting sixth and catching is Lance Parrish. Batting seventh at first base is Greg Brock. Batting eighth at third base is Mickey Hatcher. And batting ninth at second base is Sweet Lou Whitaker. On the mound for the Yankees is Stefan Weaver. This guy has been lights out since he got called up in 1980. Look at that, 26-5. His career numbers in 45 starts. This is his 45th start today. 2.69 career ERA. 170 strikeouts and 338 innings pitched. Not a strikeout pitcher, although his fastball tops out around 92 miles an hour. Opponents are batting .207 in his career against him. He's got 16 complete games, 4 shutouts. He's got a live fastball, strong curve, and a better than average changeup as well. His ratings are high. Career minor leaguer. I want to take a look real quick. Yeah, he won a Gold Glove last year as well. He was an all-star. Pretty damn good player. Okay, so here we go. Gibby leading off, the left-hander. First at bat for the Tigers this season, and he hits a ground ball to short. And Brian Doyle makes the play. 1 down. If you look defensively at the Yankees here, left field, Don Reynolds below average. Otherwise, they're pretty strong defensively. Next up, Rickey Henderson, 1 for 11 in his career against Wever. Hits a pop-up into foul ground on the first base side. That's 2 down. And here's the player who finished second in MVP voting last year, Alan Trammell. Had an awesome year. And he hits a ground ball to short. And that's going to do it for the Tigers half as they go down 1-2-3. Go to the top of the second, no score. Dennis Werth leading off. He's got a home run in his career against Morris. And there's the first hit of the season, infield single to first. And if you want to see, there's been no changes to what a pitcher can offer with a runner on base, but there's a lot for a hitter. So we'll see that once we get a Tiger on base today. So runner on first, nobody out. Here's last year's MVP, Ron Hassey, 5 for 15 against Morris with a home run. Line drive to right field, and the play is made by Andre Dawson. There's 1 down. Werth has 83 speed over there at first, so just above average. It's going to bring up the 1980 National League MVP, Claudell Washington. Washington flies out to left center field, deep enough for Werth to tag and go to second. What? So Werth is in scoring position for Joe Lefebvre. As I mentioned in the rundown, he did win Gold Glove at third base last year. He hits a sharp ground ball to first. Brock steps on the bag, and no harm done with the leadoff single to Werth. We go to the bottom of the second. Here's Andre Dawson making his first appearance at the plate for the Tigers. And he shoots it into the right center field gap. It gets all the way to the wall, and he's got himself a triple. Andre Dawson making an immediate impact with a leadoff triple. Yankees are pulling the infield in. And here's Reggie. I don't know what to think here, but if you take a look at the options here. It does show you what the stolen base percentage option is. Dawson, 19% likely to steal home plate, or we can send him to go on contact, or give him a green light to steal whenever he feels like it. Those are new options in the 2021 version. All I want Reggie to do is to hit it to the outfield. Let's go, Reggie. There we go. Base hit into the gap. Gets past the center fielder, and Reggie has himself a double. So a triple and a double to start off the bottom of the second. Tigers lead 1-0. It's going to bring up Lance Parrish, who strikes out looking. There's one down. Here's Greg Brock. He did not play in the majors in 1982, which is why he's represented by a minor league baseball card. And he takes a strike 3 looking. So 2 strikeouts here consecutively by Wever. That's going to bring up Mickey Hatcher in the ace spot. And he hits a pop-up on the infield. Same old Mickey Hatcher. And that's the final out. So the Tigers get on the board with the triple by Dawson and a double by Reggie. It's 1-0. Leading off top of the third is Lee Mazzilli. And Mazzilli hits a line drive to center field. There's one down. Next up is Brian Doyle, who always hits Tigers pitching well. And there he goes, base hit to right. So, Brian Doyle on first, 84 speed. Back to the top of the lineup with Willie Randolph. I'm gonna bring Hatcher in case Randolph wants to lay one down. Ground ball to Whitaker at second. This could be 2. It is a double play. There we go. So it is an easy inning there for Morris as we go to the bottom of the third. Here's Sweet Lou getting his first at bat of the season, 6 for 18 against Stefan Weaver. That is pretty darn good numbers considering Weaver has been almost untouchable in his career. Whitaker grounds out to Doyle at second base. He's going to bring up Gibby for the second time today, and he strikes out looking. 3 Ks now for Weaver. 2 down for Rickey Henderson, and Henderson strikes out on an inside pitch. So we go to the top of the fourth with Jack Morris at 42 pitches, kind of a high number. Don Reynolds leading off the inning, popping it up on the infield. Third base side foul ground, and Hatcher makes the play. Next up is Don Mattingly. His rookie year was 83, so in 82 he did not have a Major League Baseball card by any of the 3 major companies. So that's a minor league card of Donnie Baseball. He pops it up on the infield, and Trammell makes the catch just on the outfield grass. So with 2 down, cleanup hitter Dennis Werth hits a ground ball to Tram, and Tram tosses him out. That's 1-2-3 inning for Morris. We go to the bottom half with Trammell leading off. It's Trammell, Dawson, and Jackson, 3-4-5. Trammell walks. There we go. So here is a base runner at first. Trammell with 82 speed. Last year, Trammell had 20 stolen bases. So he does have some speed. And the catcher, Hassey, has a 79 arm, not just below average. Take a look at his fielding from last year. He only threw out 25% of base runners. So not great defensively. And if we look over here, it's a nearly 70% for Trammell to steal second base. But we're going to give Andre Dawson a chance to swing away here since we have the lead. Right down the pipe, and Dawson has himself a second hit. Trammell goes to third, and immediate impact here by Dawson. 2 for 2 on the day. Nobody out for Reggie. I guess we need to let him swing away. We're going to have Oh boy. I don't know. We're going to let him swing away. There's nobody out. Reggie gets the fly ball to center field. That should score Trammell. It does. So a sac fly by Reggie Jackson. And he's got both RBIs right now. Okay, so now I think we're going to try to steal second base with Dawson. Dawson had 13 steals last year. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give Dawson the green light to go whenever he thinks it's good. And big wheel Lance Parrish is up. He's 0 for 1 on the day. Struck out his first time up. Oh, Dawson is gunned down on a changeup by Wever. And that's second out. That's a bummer. All right, 2 down for Parrish, who hits a deep fly ball to dead center field. It's a cavern out there. 413 feet, but it's 440 to dead center field. And in Old Tiger Stadium, this is obviously the Comerica Park photograph, but in old Tiger Stadium, they had that flagpole that was right in the middle of the outfield out there. You had to avoid it. We go to the top of the 5th. Tigers are up 2-0 here on opening day. Ron Hassey will lead off against Morris. Oh, Morris pulls it for ball 4. Walks him on 4 straight pitches. Only the first walk for Morris today. It's going to bring up Claudell Washington. Washington hits a fly ball to right field, and Dawson makes the play. 1 down. Next up is Joe Lefebvre. He pulls it to Brock at first. Could that be 2? Yeah, that's right. Slow base runner in Hassey. We turn 2 easily. And we go to the bottom of the 5th. We're at the halfway point of the game here with Greg Brock leading off. And he pops it straight up on the infield. Doyle makes the play. 1 down. Mickey Hatcher's up next. Hatcher, ground ball, almost snuck through the left side as Doyle tosses him out at first. And it's the second out here in the bottom of the 5th. Here's Sweet Lou, and Lou strikes out looking. I believe that is the 5th strikeout for Wever. Might actually be the 6th. So it shows 5 there. I could be wrong. We go to the top of the 6th. Morris in command. 63 pitches now, and he strikes out Lee Mazzilli for his 2nd K. Next up is Brian Doyle, number 9 hitter. Had a base hit his first time through the lineup, and he flies out to left. Gibby makes the play. Back to the top of the lineup with Willie Randolph, who's 0 for 2 on the day, and he strikes out. So a 1-2-3 inning for Morris, who appears to be totally in control. Kirk Gibson leading off, bottom of the 6th inning. Hits a fly ball to right center field, and it's going to be caught by the right fielder Washington. 1 down. Next up is Rickey popping it up on the infield. I didn't feel like putting Rickey in the leadoff role was the wisest thing to do, considering he was not so successful last year at stealing bases, but he does walk a lot, and I thought putting him in the number 2 spot might keep things rolling as Trammell gets a base hit down the left field line. The left fielder, Reynolds, gets it back in quickly, so he holds Trammell to a single. That's the first hit of the season for Trammell. 2 down. Here's Andre Dawson, 2 for 2 on the day. And he pulls it to third. And he's thrown out by Lefebvre at first base for the 3rd out. So we're going to the top of the 7th. Don Reynolds, Don Mattingly, and Dennis Werth. 2, 3, and 4 are due up. Reynolds hits a ground ball to Trammell. Trammell tosses him out. 1 down. It's going to bring up Mattingly. Mattingly, ground ball to Trammell. Trammell's got a lot of ground to cover over there with Hatcher, who has terrible range. So maybe we see a gold glove this year for Tram. Werth hits a ground ball right back to Morris. Morris underhands it to first, and it's another 1-2-3 inning. We head to the bottom of the seventh inning stretch with Reggie Jackson leading off. He's 1 for 1, 2 RBIs today. Who would have thunk it? Maybe Reggie's turning over a new leaf in 82. Then he hits a weak ground ball to short. There's one down. Lance Parrish up next. 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Hits a high fly ball. Caught just short of the warning track and left. That's the second out for Weaver. Weaver at 92 pitches. He does have 5 strikeouts. And then Greg Brock with 2 down pops it up. On the first base side, foul ground. Caught by Hassey, and that is the third out. So we're going to the top of the 8th. This game's moving along. Only 6 hits total. Ron Hassey leading off, top of the 8th. Striking out, 4 Ks for Morris. 1 down, here's Claudell Washington striking out, swinging. Morris looking sharp. Mid-season form here. 5 Ks now for Jack. Oh, that shouldn't have said anything. As Joe Lefebvre walks, that's going to bring the tying run to the plate. And Lee Mazzilli. Mazzilli batted .229 versus right-handers last year. Ground ball to Hatcher third. And he tosses him out. Okay, a little nervous there for just a moment as we go to the bottom of the 8th. It's 2-0 Detroit with Mickey Hatcher leading off. Hatcher, look at this, batted .184 last year versus right-handers. He makes great contact. He doesn't strike out very much, but he's got a poor eye as well. Like, he doesn't walk either. He lifts a fly ball to right, easily caught by Washington. There's 1 down. Next up is Sweet Lou. Lou pops it up to his second base counterpart, Willie Randolph. We go back to the top of the lineup with Gibby. Gibby 0 for 3 with a strikeout today. Ground ball to third. Okay, here we are, top of the 9th inning. Morris on the verge of pitching a shutout on opening day. He's got a lefty and 2 righties. We have our closer up in the bullpen. That's Roger Wever. Brian Doyle will lead off. Shoots it to the left. Gibby tracks it down. That's the first out of the 9th. Willie Randolph. He's 0 for 3 on the day. Fly ball out to Gibby into left center field. And Gibby's made both plays. We're down to the final out here on opening day. It's Don Reynolds at the plate. Batted .225 last year. 1 for 6 against Morris in his career. Ground ball to Trammell. And the Tigers win 2-0 on opening day. A complete game shutout. 100 pitches by Morris. He will be our opening day player of the game. At the end of every game, we announce a Tigers player of the game, and it'll probably go to Morris, I would think. Let's take a look at the standings. You can see what everyone else did. I have OPS up. I have home runs, stolen bases, and ERA, if you're curious. The statistics, so that's what happened on April 1st. The American League, National League, only Houston versus Cincinnati, as Houston won the World Series last year in 1981. In our sim, take a look at the transactions. Oh, wow, the Seattle ace, Roy Branch, will be out for 2 weeks. So, yeah, he's going to be out for 15 days. He made a start, got crushed, and hurt his knee. And then Jack Billingham, who former Detroit Tiger, who's in the, I believe, AA for Oakland, also had an injury. All right, let's pull up the box score, and we'll get out of here. Thanks for watching opening day, everybody. I appreciate you stopping in. Many, many more games coming this way. And let's see, player of the game is going to be Jack Morris. You'll see over here. is Jack Morris's player card. We also, down below, will show how many votes that he has accumulated. Then over here on the right side, it will show the top 3 vote getters for the Tigers MVP for the 1982 season. Reggie had a double. Andre Dawson, 2 for 3 in his first game as a Tiger. Also got thrown out attempting to steal. Morris goes to 1-0 with that complete game shutout, beating Stefan Weaver at his own game. Weaver goes to 0-1. And that's it. We're going to come back tomorrow with Game 2 of the season, Game 2 of the series. Until then, everyone, have a great day.